Welcome to the beating heart of our project Red Rocket. So what you see in front of me is the short block of the engine that is going to go into the car eventually, hopefully, which will be its beating heart. This is the Gen4 3SGTE engine from a Toyota Caldina. If you're familiar with the Mk1.5 builds, the 3SGTE is what you swap into a Mark 1 car. This coming from a minivan in Japan. This is usually the engine of choice, although these are getting harder to find these days because this is like a 2003 engine or so. There is the Gen 5, which now is being used, and there's a kit available on Prime Driven to do this. So I have already disassembled the engine to the short block a few months back now, and the reason of me doing that was to replace every seal and gasket you can think of before this thing goes into the car, because once it goes in, changing anything will be an issue, and the engine most likely will have to come out. So you might as well save yourself some time ahead of time by disassembling everything, changing all the seals, all the rubber hoses and everything you can think of before you put it in the car, and it will serve you for years to come. Here is the rest of the engine. So this is our cylinder head. This part is made by Yamaha. I had a exhaust bolt broken, so I had to take it to the machine shop to take it out. I believe it was this one, take out and then retap. But I'll also need to clean the valves. They have too much carbon buildup on them. This is the exhaust manifold, which the turbo housing is cast into, which I guess saves some space, but at the same time is not the best design, because if you want to swap the turbo on this, you'll need to get a new exhaust manifold, which you can have a divorced turbo on. Timing, gears, intake. This is the AC compressor. Most people that do this conversion usually ditch the AC. I live in a hot area. I want to keep the AC, so I'll need to find a shop that will retrofit the AC to the old controllers in the vehicle. Alternator, don't lose this if you get this engine, because you cannot find the US spec alternator that will fit on this engine. So this is the JDM spec, which came with the engine. Supposedly these are quite durable, but hey, let's not test it. And this is the stock intercooler. Now, this being a front mount engine originally for a front wheel drive or all wheel drive configuration, this would sit just like it sits in like a Subaru on top of the engine, and there would be a coil that would get the cold air in through the intercooler. Now, the MR2s being a mid-engine or a rear-engine car, there is no way this will get air in the back. So I'll have to think of a way to put this strategically so there is ample air coming through. One way is to put fans on it. I haven't really thought that through yet though. But this is pretty much it. All disassembled. There is a fuel rail. There is the valve cover. I'll be painting the valve cover. This is your catalytic converter, and let's look at the short block. So once I took everything out, I saw that the pistons were quite black, which is normal. I mean, this engine supposedly has somewhere around 60 to 65,000 miles. What I'll attempt to do today is clean these pistons. Since I came all the way down to here, why not clean them up? The next step would be sanding away all the rust here on the block and covering it with just black paint. I won't touch the back yet, and I won't bother with the front, but this side and this side, and after I clean it from all the penetrating oil, which I used trying to get all the exhaust bolts out, I'll need to clean this up, repaint it. Nothing fancy really, but just to make sure it will last long enough. I need to clean the old head gasket, and I'll have a new head gasket put in, but today I'll begin with just cleaning the pistons. So to do that, we shall be using a carb cleaner. I got the cheapest one really, because I might be using a lot of this, I don't know yet. And we have some heavy duty scour pads. Now these are aluminum pistons, and you don't want anything too abrasive. Anything harder than aluminum, this is the rule of thumb, anything harder will scratch the softer material. So if these were iron pistons, cast iron pistons, I might be able to use maybe a brass brush, but brass could damage aluminum, so I'll just use this synthetic scouring pad. This is the heavy duty one, and this is the non-scratch one. So I'll start with this, see how far it gets me, and if it doesn't, I'll revert to the heavy duty one. Hopefully I won't need to, but we'll see. Whenever you're working with chemicals like this, they will have a lot of fumes, so use a gas mask. This is a chemical mask, or this one has chemical filters on it, so you won't be breathing all those fumes, because even if you don't feel it today, it might come and bite you in the rear later on. We have some shop towels, so we'll see how this goes. I'm going in blind, so wish me luck. And once I put the mask on, you won't hear me talking, because talking behind this isn't fun. But here we go. Okay, the mask is off. We are back. As you can see, the pistons are in a much better state than what they used to be. Let's turn the engine over. You can even see the stamps on the pistons, which I don't know what 2C means, but here are the other two. They're in pretty decent condition. I also went ahead and cleaned the head gasket off camera, or what was remaining of it on the cylinder. There is still some cleaning to do, and some parts unfortunately found their way into the pistons, so I'll need to pick them up later. But the block is cast iron in this case, so you can use a razor blade. You have to be really careful not to scar it that much. I managed to put a nick here, even though these are pretty much similar materials. Of course, if this was an aluminum block, it would be really easy to score, and you don't want to use a sharp object like this on an aluminum block. In this case, the head is aluminum, and I need to clean all the remaining, gasket from here, which is not gonna be easy because I can't really use this. Now, I tried this plastic scraper, which turned out not too great, at least on the block. I couldn't get anything off, so I had to revert to the good old blade, but oh well. We'll see what happens with this guy right here. Now, another thing I need to mention is, in the previous part, I was wearing double gloves because I was working with the solvent, which is, well, I removed it, which is the carb cleaner. So gloves are cheap, your health isn't. So use gloves, double gloves, and use a respirator when working with chemicals. The other thing I need to mention is inside the cylinder, or cylinder bore, whatever you call this, cylinder walls is the right term. They did flash rust after I had cleaned the pistons, because I was getting all the residual oil off the cylinder walls as well. So I wiped it down and coated it with engine oil. You shouldn't let the cylinder walls rust. If they show signs of rust, you can probably use a sandpaper. Don't take my word for it though. Very fine though, in the thousands level, like 1000, 2000 grit sandpaper, and just lightly sand away the rust without damaging the cylinder wall itself. Never use anything harsh here, because you'll damage it and your engine won't run right, probably even burn oil. So that's it. That was a look at the engine in pieces, and also some cleaning on the pistons, and I'll see you on the next one. Although nobody watches these. Goodbye.